The Exocet is a French-built anti-ship missile whose various versions can be launched from surface vessels, submarines, helicopters and fixed-wing aircraft. Etymology: the missile's name was given by M. Guillot, then the technical director at Nord Aviation. It is the French word for flying fish from the Latin name Exocoetus, a transliteration of the Greek name for flying fish, a 1/4 I 3/4 I to the first I, which literally means lying down outside, sleeping outside, because it sometimes stranded itself in boats. Description: the Exocet is built by MBDA, a European missile company. Development began in 1967 by Nord as a ship-launched weapon named the M38. A few years later Aerospace and Nord merged. The basic body design was based on the Nord AS-30 air-to-ground tactical missile. The air-launched Exocet was developed in 1974 and entered service with the French Navy 5 years later. The relatively compact missile is designed for attacking small to medium-size warships, although multiple hits are effective against larger vessels, such as aircraft carriers. It is guided inertially in mid-flight and turns on active radar late in its flight to find and hit its target. As a countermeasure against the air defense around the target, it maintains a very low altitude during ingress, staying 1–2 m above the sea surface. Due to the effect of the radar horizon, this means that the target may not detect an incoming attack until the missile is only 6,000 m from impact. This leaves little time for reaction and stimulated the design of close-in weapon systems. Its rocket motor, which is fueled by solid propellant, gives the Exocet a maximum range of 70 kilometers. It was replaced on the Block 3mm 40 ship-launched version of the missile with a solid propellant booster and a turbojet sustainer motor which extends the range of the missile to more than 180 kilometers. The submarine-launched version places the missile inside a launch capsule. Versions: the Exocet has been manufactured in a number of versions, including MM38 deployed on warships. Range of 42 km. No longer produced. A coast defense version known as Excalibur was developed in the United Kingdom and deployed in Gibraltar from 1985 to 1997. AM38, AM39, B2 Mod 2 are deployed on 14 types of aircraft. Range between 50 and 70 km, depending on the altitude and the speed of the launch aircraft. SM39 B2 Mod 2, deployed on submarines. The missile is housed inside a watertight launched capsule, which is fired by the submarine Euro-1 registered trademark S torpedo-launched tubes. On leaving the water, the capsule is ejected and the missile Euro-1 registered trademark S motor is ignited. It then behaves like an mm40. The missile will be fired at depth, which makes it particularly suitable for discrete submarine operations. MM40, Block 1, Block 2 and Block 3 are deployed on warships and in coastal batteries. Range of 72 km for the Block 2, in excess of 180 km for the Block 3. MM40 Block 3, in February 2004, the DAR copyright La copyright Gation Gar copyright Na copyright Rail pour l'Amendement notified MBDA of a contract for the design and production of a new missile, the MM40 Block 3. It has an improved range, in excess of 180 km through the use of a turbojet engine, and includes 4 air intakes to provide a continuous airflow to the power plant during high-G maneuvers. The Block 3 missile accepts GPS guidance system waypoint commands, which allow it to attack naval targets from different angles and to strike land targets, giving it a marginal role as a land attack missile. The Block 3 Exocet is lighter than the previous MM40 Block 2 Exocet. 45 Block 3 Exocets were ordered by the French Navy in December 2008 for its ships which were carrying Block 2 missiles, namely Horizon-class and Aquitaine-class frigates. These are not to be new productions but the conversion of older Block 2 missiles to the Block 3 standard. A mm40 Block 3 last qualification firing took place on the Ailard-Levant test range on April 25, 2007 and series manufacturing began in October 2008. The first firing of the Block 3 from a warship took place on March 18, 2010, from the French Navy air defense frigate Chevalier Paul. In 2012, a new motor designed and manufactured in Brazil by the Avibras company, in collaboration with MBDA, was tested on a mm-40 missile of the Brazilian Navy. Beside the French, the Block 3 has been ordered by several other navies including that of Greece, the UAE, Peru, Qatar, Oman, Indonesia and Morocco. The chief competitors to the Exocet are the US-made Harpoon, the Swedish RBS-15 and the Chinese ING series. History: Falklands War. In 1982, during the Falklands War, the Exocet became noted worldwide when Argentine Navy Dassault Breguet Super Permel tendered warplanes carrying the AM-39 air-launched version of the Exocet caused irreparable damage which sank the Royal Navy destroyer HMSA Sheffield on May 4, 1982. Two Exocets then struck the 15,000-ton merchant ship Atlantic Conveyor on May 25. Two MM-38 ship-to-ship Exocet missiles were removed from the old destroyer ARA Segua, a retired U.S. Navy Allen M. Sumner-class vessel, and transferred to an improvised launcher for land use, a technically challenging task which also required reprogramming. One of these was fired at, and caused damage to, the destroyer HMSA Glamorgan on June 12. The Exocet that struck the Sheffield impacted on the starboard side at deck level 2. Traveling through the junior rating scullery and breaching the forward auxiliary machinery room forward engine room bulkhead 2.4 meters above the waterline, creating a hole in the hull roughly 1.2 by 3 meters. It appears that the warhead did not explode. Accounts suggest that the initial impact of the missile disabled the ship's electrical distribution systems and breached the pressurized seawater fire main, severely hampering any firefighting response and eventually dooming the ship to be consumed by the fire. The loss of Sheffield was a deep shock to the British public and government. Some of the crew of Sheffield were of the opinion that the missile exploded, others held the view that it had not. The official Royal Navy Board of Inquiry report, however, stated that evidence indicates that the warhead did not detonate. During the 4.5 days that the ship remained afloat, 5 salvage inspections were made and a number of photographs were taken. Members of the crew were interviewed, and testimony was given by Exocet specialists. There was no evidence of an explosion, although burning propellant from the rocket motor had caused a number of fires, which could not be checked as a fire main had been put out of action. The Atlantic Conveyor was a container ship that had been hastily converted to an aircraft transport and was carrying helicopters and supplies. The missiles had been fired at a frigate but had been confused by the frigate's defenses and instead targeted the Atlantic Conveyor nearby. The Exocets, it is not certain whether the warheads exploded or not, caused a fire in the fuel and ammunition aboard which burned the ship out. Atlantic Conveyor sank while under tow 3 days later. The Exocet that struck Glamorgan detonated on the port side of the hangar deck, punching a hole in the deck and galley below, causing fires. The missile body traveled into the hangar and caused a fully fueled and armed Wessex helicopter to explode. Prompt action by the officers and men at the helm saved the ship. With less than a minute's warning, the incoming missile had been tracked on radar in the operations room and bridge. As the ship was traveling at speed, a turn was ordered to present her stern to the missile. The ship was heeled far over to starboard when the missile struck. It hit the coaming and was deflected upwards. The dent caused by the impact was clearly visible when Glamorgan was refitted in late 1982. In the years after the Falklands War, it was revealed that the British government and the Secret Intelligence Service had been extremely concerned at the time by the perceived inadequacy of the Royal Navy's anti-missile defences against the Exocet and its potential to tip the naval war decisively in favour of the Argentine forces. A scenario was envisioned in which one or both of the force's 2 aircraft carriers were destroyed or incapacitated by Exocet attacks, which would make recapturing the Falklands much more difficult. Actions were taken to contain the Exocet threat. During the preparation for the war, Britain benefited from the help of France, which gave the Exocets code and homing radar. A major intelligence operation was also initiated to prevent the Argentine Navy from acquiring more of the weapons on the international market. The operation included British intelligence agents claiming to be arms dealers able to supply large numbers of Exocets to Argentina, who diverted Argentina from pursuing sources which could genuinely supply a few missiles. France denied deliveries of Exocet AIM-39s purchased by Peru to avoid the possibility of Peru giving them to Argentina, because they knew that payment would be made with a credit card from the Central Bank of Peru. British intelligence had detected the guarantee was a deposit of $200 million from the Andean Lima Bank, an owned subsidiary of the Banco Ambrosiano. Lockheed Company. In about 1983, the Lockheed Company independently duplicated part of the Exocet's navigation system. It caused official complications. Iran-Iraq War. During the Iran-Iraq War, on May 17, 1987, an Iraqi jet aircraft fired Exocet missiles at the American frigate USS Stark. 37 United States Navy personnel were killed and 21 others were wounded. Operators. Current operators, an Argentina, Argentine Navy, MM-38, MM-40 and AM-39, a Brunei, Royal Brunei Navy, MM-38, MM-40, a Bulgaria, a Brazil, Brazilian Navy, MM-38, MM-40 Block 2 and AM-39, a Cameroon, Cameroon Navy, MM-38, MM-40 Craft, a Chile, Chilean Navy, MM-38, AM-39 and recently acquired SM-39 for the Scorpion-class submarine. Previously used MM-40. It is unknown if the missiles were sold along with the two Condor-class frigates to Ecuador, a Colombia, a Cyprus Navy, MM-40, a Ecuador, MM-40, a Egypt, AM-39, MM-38 and MM-40, a France, a Germany, German Navy, to be replaced with the RBS-15. A Greece, Hellenic Navy, MM-38, MM-40 Block 2/3 Hellenic Air Force, AM-39, a Indonesia, MM-38 on Fatahillah-class corvette, MM-40 Block 2 on Sigma-class corvette, MM-40 Block 3 on Sigma-class frigate, a India, Indian Navy, Iran, Iranian Air Force, captured ex-Iraqi AM-39 from ex-Iraqi Mirage F-1s. These aircraft sought sanctuary during the Second Persian Gulf War. A Kuwait, a Libya, a Malaysia, Royal Malaysian Navy, MM-38, MM-40 Block 2, MM-40 Block 3 and SM-39, a Morocco, Royal Moroccan Navy, MM-38, MM-40 Block 2/3, Moroccan Air Force, AM-39, a Oman, a Pakistan, Pakistan Air Force, AM-39 Pakistan Navy, SM-39 class submarines, AM-39, a Peru, Peruvian Navy, MM-38 on PR-72P class corvettes, AM-39 Block 1 on ASH-3DC Kings, MM-40 Block 3 on Lupo-class frigates, a Qatar, a South Africa, South African Navy, MM-40 Block 2 on Valor-class frigates. The Navy plans to upgrade to the Block 3 missile. A South Korea, Republic of Korea Navy, a Thailand, Royal Thai Navy, MM-38, a Tunisia, M-40 Exocet for the Combat Anti-3 FACs, a Turkey, MM-38, a Vietnam, Vietnam People's Navy MM-40 Block 3 on Sigma-class corvette, a United Arab Emirates, UAE Navy MM-40 Block 3 on Bainuna-class corvette, a Uruguay, National Navy of Uruguay, MM-38 on Joe Pound Oberlo-class frigates, former operators, a Belgium, Belgian Navy-operated Exocet on its Wielingen-class frigates. These warships were all sold in 2008 to Bulgaria, a Georgia, an Iraq, Iraqi Air Force, AM-39 on Mirage F-1, Super Permel tendered and Superflen during the Iran-Iraq War, all retired, a United Kingdom, Royal Navy-operated Exocet until the last MM-38 armed surface vessel was decommissioned in 2002, a Venezuela, Venezuelan Air Force, AM-39, see also, Automat, Sea Eagle, C-802, RBS-15, SSN-25, Harpoon, BrahMos, references. External links, manufacturer's website, gallery of photographs of various variants of the Exocet missile, Argentine account of the role of the Exocet in the Falklands War, photos of Exocet damage to USS Stark, Testing of Exocet M40 Block 3.